make pocket altars for anything, and I thought today we could brainstorm making a pocket altar for your inner child. I would start with colors. For me, I have always really loved red, so I would probably choose like a red for my backing fabric. But think back to when you were little and like what was your favorite color as a child and your favorite kind of designs. Think about that for your backing fabric. Now these are wool felt because I think they're really easy to sew with, but you could also just go find something like, oh my God, I think I would do like a Care Bears fabric, honestly, or a strawberry shortcake fabric for me. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I'd probably do something like this one where the inside is like chenille or felt, something plain. And then the outside I would do like that Care Bears or, oh my God, Smurfs. You know, some sort of fabric that I was just obsessed with when I was little. And then for the inside piece where you're going to do most of your decorating, one of the things you could do is print out images of things you loved as a child or even pictures of you as a child. And then you can just sew them directly onto your altar. Now, most of the altars I make these days, I print out images onto fabric, but you really don't have to do that. A photograph can go on your altar really easily, just sew it right on. And this, I don't know if you can tell, you can see how that's kind of shiny. All I did here was print this tarot card on a regular printer paper, and then I used packing tape and essentially laminated the image between two pieces of packing tape so that it had a little more weight to it. I would not sew plain like printer paper to your altar. You should probably either, you know, encase it in packing tape like that or print it out on like photograph paper so it's got a little more weight to it. Other things you could consider is if there were things you really loved as a child, like certain sports or music or something like that, find charms that represent that for you. I would probably also make like a little friendship bracelet out of embroidery floss, and I might use that to create frames around the images or just to decorate it, or even make a friendship bracelet as the closure for the altar. When you put your altar together, just remember you're layering on symbolism. So if you're making an inner child altar, think of all the things you loved as a child and just fill it up with all those things so that when you have that altar with you, when you're looking at it, when you're working with it, when it's in your pocket, it's just filled with all that goodness of the things you loved as a child, and it can take you back to a place and help your inner child kind of come out with that altar. And then how would I use it? I would very likely set it out on my table, or if I have a larger altar, I could set my altar out. You could light a candle, which is another opportunity for symbolism. You could find a candle holder that has something that your inner child would really like. Unicorns for me. I think like a little votive candle with some unicorns on it would be just the ticket. You could do write letters to your inner child. Like sit down with your altar and write a letter to your inner child and tuck it in. If you make a pocket, you could tuck it in there. You could play music that you loved when you were little. You could take your altar with you, pop it in your pocket, and take it with you to go do something that you loved doing as a child. Even better, something you weren't allowed to do very much as a child. If you work with any affirmations or meditations, you could sit with your altar, light your candle, and just chant them to yourself as like an offering to your inner child. If you're working with a therapist and your inner child, you could take your altar with you to your appointments. If you want to do offerings at your altar, you can do that too. Like I would get donuts and junk food. I was not allowed that stuff very often, and I think my inner child would really appreciate that. If you do tarot readings for your inner child, when you sit down to do that reading or you sit down to do the journaling, open your altar and have it sit next to you while you do that work. Lots and lots of ways to use these pocket altars. I hope that gives you some ideas for how you can use a pocket altar with your inner child. I'd love to hear your ideas. Pop them in the comments and let me know if you have any questions.